might be far gone, I don't know. I'm about to tell what I know is so. Got the reason, got a feel to the core. Your excuses just block the road. I might be far gone, I don't know. I'm about to tell what I know is so. Got the reason, got a feel to the core. Your excuses just block the road. Something more. I don't
I want you to reach out in love. I want you to let those brothers and sisters around the base, let them know that even though the anti-whites wield so much power, that we are winning every contest with them, and that it's only a matter of time. Tell them that they can be more than they are. Tell them that they can stand up for Western kind, Western civilization, and everyone who lives in Western civilization of all immutable characteristics. Tell them that there's a way that they can stand up for it in love, with the moral high ground. Be gentle with them at first. Coming out of a story that you thought was the real world is one of the hardest things that folks can do. If you go there with a true spirit and a true heart, with humility, you're going to win more souls than you'll ever turn away. And in the end, all of that will redound to the glory of our people and the reclamation of our destiny. Isn't it epic to be us? Totally epic to be us. This, of course, is the advanced class. And if you can hear me okay, we are rolling in. Please let me know that my voice is full and rich and beautiful and pleasurable. It's great to see everybody on this Saturday night. Tomorrow we're going to have a wonderful Going Free gathering. Hope to see you all there. Let me know also if the visual is coming through magnificently. And also while we are together, if somebody could go over to Rumble. I'm broadcasting there, and I can see it over on the monitor to my left, your right. I just want to see if anybody else can see it over there. Or if there's, maybe you could say hi in the live chat. Would be good if you were over there watching. And a big hello to everybody on Odyssey and DLive, and anybody who is on Rumble, if they are able to get over there, show up and say hello. I would appreciate it. So Mike, okay, sound is great, says Real Playlist. Thank you so much. And Franklin, audio is great. Wonderful. Well, then we're streaming beautifully. Everything looks good. If you have a comment or question over the course of this review, which we're going to dig into in just a moment, this young lady here, she's talking about white people being banned and fired because of their race. And she actually had the temerity to say white people and not just leave it as, well, they're just after people on the basis of race, as we see so often when it comes to these cuckold conservative and Republican leaders. Remember, rank and file are wonderful, heroic, magnificent people. The leadership are losers. They are effete. They are epicene. And they are good for one thing, and that is being a Judas goat. Now, this young woman, we're going to get into this video, and I briefly jumped into it when big thank you to Mestizo for sharing this video with me over on YouTube. I'm sorry, Twitter. And then I followed the link on over to YouTube and didn't know who she was. And she has this very large platform over there. How many subs does she have? Oh, I don't know. A ton. Looks like maybe 65,000 subs. And very interesting. I mean, maybe we'll watch some of her introductory video that she uses. That's titled Why I Left the Left, plus my woke university. So as you can see, she is using the terminology of anti-whiteism, which legitimizes the ideology of anti-whiteism, which puts her inside of the anti-white narrative, where it doesn't matter what argument she makes, she always loses. How do we know this is the case? Because our whole lives we've experienced it. And if you're still struggling with something you experienced your whole life, learning from it, then you have some deep problems. Maybe, I don't know, maybe you just need a bib and a pacifier. And I understand, in all seriousness, you're trapped in this anti-white world where everything is anti-white. That's the norm. And as a consequence, it gets hard to see it. And finding your way out is very difficult. And when you do find your way out, as many people, advanced placement class individuals that are here implementing the Go Free method in their lives, when they do begin to climb their way up out of this mire, this mirror, dank mirror of the West today, what ends up happening? Do they have a lot of people that are then helping them and they're pushing them up? Yes, go get the air, go climb out of the mud and the muck and the sewage and then pull us out. No, the exact opposite happens. It's like a horror movie. I know, because I've been undergoing it for 3 decades. Others who are in this white positive circle have experienced the same thing. You're trying to claw yourself out of this sewage, and where there's only one ending for white people, and it's sanguinary. You're trying to climb your way out of it, and all of these muddy hands are reaching up and they're grabbing you, just like a horror movie. And they got your hold of your shirt and a hold of your belt, and they're just pulling you back down into the sludge because they can't see the world other than in the sludge. Nothing else makes sense to them. It's very uncomfortable when somebody gets out of the mirror and then speaks back to them and says, come on, you should get out as well. Nothing is good for us there. You're going to drown. You're going to be butchered. You're going to be biologically white erased. You're being biologically white erased. You're being white erased generally everywhere you look in Western civilization. They don't want to hear that. They want more of the same, more of the old arguments, more of the old vehicles. In fact, I know somebody here, and people show up, and I know sometimes I haven't been as inviting as I should be. And I just blame myself. I mean, I could definitely say, well, decades of having people threaten my life and grossly misrepresent me because of me having this other way, this original way. I think it's so funny inside the anti-white narrative where they're like, this is a third path politics, or this is and you just, it's like watching 5-year-olds playing swords and boogeyman and good guys. And it's just so ridiculous. But I could use the excuse. But the bottom line is outcomes. And I need to be more diplomatic. Me and Raymond Foster, we're both in a competition to see who can become more diplomatic more quickly. And so I salute him for that. And he just had a birthday recently. So again, happy birthday to that young man. But so if you're new, and there are a lot of new people showing up past couple of months, thank the good Lord. Welcome to you. Welcome. If you don't know much of what we do here, it's called the Go Free Method. It's a very simple practice that you implement in your life. It's not a new political party. It's not a new ideology. It is a practice. And like working out or eating is a practice. You have to keep doing it to stick with it and to make it a habit and to get the benefits out of it. Same thing here. There's no new flag. There's no new like party slogan or party song. So there are a lot of things here that are going to be a little bit uncomfortable at first for neophytes, people who are new. And yet I promise you stick around. The easiest thing to understand for the first couple steps that you have to make is that there are a handful of concepts that you need to start using in your life. And some of the champs in the live chat might share those now. Things like anti-whiteism and anti-white. Things like Western kind, white erasure. You want to use these things in your life, these concepts and more. You begin to pick up more of them because it changes the way you think about the world. It puts you in a different story. Now, you get to decide what story we're going to be in because the anti-whites have to come to us to manipulate us, to get us to lower our guard. So they can stand out at the beyond the moat and shout, woke, woke, please say woke, please say we're woke and you all are brain dead as a consequence. They can say that all they want. It won't matter. Because if we're saying anti-whiteism, they have to be able to talk to us. Now, I've been doing this since effectively I began asking about anti-whiteism, what it was when I was in junior high school. So you're looking at 11 to 13 years of age there, 7th and 8th grade. And I've been with it all my life. And I've taken a scientific approach to success not to just sharing the latest this or the latest that, or things we call like doom documenting, doom dissecting, doom divining, but actually trying to recapture the destiny of Western kind, getting rid of things that don't work and retaining things that do. We have, and this is no hyperbole, it's countless testimonials of the success. Why is it countless? Because it keeps growing every day. More testimonials are coming in about people's success in their personal lives, at work, with their friends, with their families, with strangers. Our leaflets go up. They succeed. People come in. Lives are changed. You don't just take somebody from some other part of the white sympathetic sphere and now you convince them of some other thing within the white sympathetic sphere. That's doing nothing. That's just shuffling the same cards in the deck. For example, we have people, good people, and guys showed up. You have folks from all these different communities, and we're going to be getting to Misha Petrov in just a moment. Misha Petrov. And we're going to get to her video and then maybe her introductory video. Looks like it's 12 minutes long. We'll see. The other video was only like 5 minutes long. But I think there's probably a lot to learn there. But you have people show up here from a lot of different communities. And the one salient thing that you can very easily identify folks in the white sympathetic sphere is that they show up with their own pet peeves. They show up and at every new group, because this is how it's done wherever you go, except here. You show up and people get to come together and then they get to share their research about who they think is behind it and what's going on and all of this sort of thing. And then they're, sometimes, almost all the time, half-baked ideas about how to remedy the problem. We have a scientifically proven method. So when you show up here and you're like, this is the way to do it, this is what's going on, this is the way to do it, don't insult those folks. Just try to help them to understand that you can always go back to what you're using and failing with. Stick around for a couple of months, observe what we are doing here, learn what we're doing, and then you will see that this works. If you still don't like it, you can always go back to what doesn't work. Can anybody see my tie is actually not black. It's actually these very thin, sort of a tiger stripe red, very dark red and black. I don't know if that's coming out very well on the camera, but it is what it is. Distracting me, wondering that. So how's everybody doing? I wanted to mention, so there's a content creator who is a very typical doom documenting. He has his own approach to it, and he has a community, and you see this in everywhere across, and it's growing. The number is growing because of its success. You see these content creators, they will doom document. They'll tell you how bad everything is. They give their audience a silly name. So just like high school or just like college, and you have the mascot running up and down the field, that's the exact same thing happening. And it is every bit as childish. It is just a means by which to ensnare people with something frivolous and silly that they can waste their time on. The thing that is problematic is when these content creators, and they do it all the time, they counterfeit credit. For example, the content creator in question, which is probably a great guy, he's probably a real nice guy, the one I'm thinking of right now, Salty Cracker. So his followers are Salty Crackers. And he just had a clip out the other day where Fauci, he mentioned Fauci, and Fauci's going to be leaving, as everyone knows, decided to leave in December. Of course, if the Republicans want to pursue him and questions and charges, they'll be able to do it whether he's in office or at his job or not. So there's no story there. But him leaving, instead of that news just being read by this salty guy, he was declaring total victory, that he and his salty lads were responsible for throwing this guy out of office. That is psychosis. That is the undermining of the individual's desire to and ability to resist the victimization of our people. When you're telling people that they did something, when you're telling them to just be a cheerleader on the sidelines, you are effectively tying their hands, duct tape over their mouths, and neutralizing them so that they don't participate in what is happening, so that they don't participate in the defense of our people. You see, learning the concepts in the Go Free method empowers you. And it does it so in various ways. And people can speak to many of the various ways that people have been strengthened by this in themselves, in their circles of influence, and then in the broader community. Waiting around for something like a Fauci character to retire and then declaring that you are some sort of victor, that you have pushed him out when you did nothing at all, and celebrating this as your success does nothing but enrich the salty content creator to whom you give your financial gifts, from whom you buy t-shirts and whatever else, beer koozies and whatever it might be that he sells over there. More power to him to object, whether he's going to, I would like to see him say anti-whiteism and anti-white and these sorts of things. More power to him to stand up against those things. I'm taking nothing away from him to be able to do that and to report to people a lot of things that they're not going to be able to find, certainly in the regime's media, but they might not even be able to find in as entertaining a way as this salty guy is able to do it. The guy's a talented guy. He's a zany guy, right? He gets wild for his audience, and a lot of people laugh and they enjoy that. My issue is when he is telling folks, and the same thing happens with Nick Fuentes, when they're telling people, we did it, our side won, and their side did nothing. There was no organized effort. There was no, and this sort of thing needs to be mentioned. It needs to be said. Adults are in the room. We cannot just all stand around and pretend anymore that work is being done and that some group is some vehicle, some new silly mascot name is doing something fantastic in the world because they cheerlead something that they like. There needs to be evidence of effort and success, evidence in a direction, proof of that direction's implementation and those strategies' success, and that it leads to the victory that is now celebrated. That is not happening whatsoever. So I think that Salty Cracker, Nick Fuentes, they would be doing a lot of good, and so many of the others that do the exact same thing. They would be doing a lot of good if they framed what they celebrated in a different light. Stop saying that we did it and congratulations, lads. And we're back. We're so back when your audience isn't doing shit. You get these poor souls thinking that they're doing something, and then they show up in people's chats all over the place and they're like, the salt flows, and etc. And nothing against anybody doing that. I mean, but the reality is, if you want to do some good in this world, be a fucking adult. Look at, and this is where I'm going to be adult with you. I'm going to be a man of the West. Be a fucking adult. Look at what is actually changing lives and succeeding in the world, and then implement that in your life. And if you still want to be a zany fart and go and have a laugh at puerile things, then be my guest. Be my guest. But don't go out into the world. For the love of God, we are running out of time. We cannot tolerate folks heading out into the world and saying, this content creator is where everybody should be giving attention, because he'll tell you how awesome you are for doing nothing. You just need to buy his shit. Let's get educated. Where does education happen in the white sympathetic sphere outside of this white positivity in service to white well-being. It does not. That's a reality. You want to hate me for it, whatever. Let's pull up this young lady and see. There she is. See what she has to say. Does anybody even know of this girl? Misha Petrov? I've never heard of her until Mestizo brought her to my attention. Let me see what you all are saying. I want to keep you all involved. And no one wrote anything in the live chat over there at the Rumble. So I don't know what the issue is. Is it not? It's playing for me. Is it not playing for anybody else over at Rumble? Hello to everybody on D Live. And getting started right away on Odyssey. We have Nationalism TV financially gifting 14 tokens, 14 library tokens over there, the cryptocurrency. Thank you so much, good brother. And he writes with those tokens, let's go. Absolutely, I agree. And Nationalism TV back again with this time 100 library tokens. 100 tokens. Thank you. He writes, Jason, you are making this way too complicated and wordy than it has to be. Really? I thought I was speaking really plainly for folks. The ruling regime wants to erase white people. That's it. One sentence, pass it on. No need to invent any new words. Oh boy, you could not be more wrong. Thank you for the tokens, but wow. You don't need a, so you're going to speak with the concepts given you by the regime, and that works? Could you point to some evidence of its success in the past? I would just like to see the evidence of the success in the past, because there isn't any. We have been losing for the total. How old are you? We have been losing for the totality of our lives. And this is good. It's good when we have folks who want to disagree. It's good for me to speak to them. And I ask the troll slayers that if someone is in the live chat and they're disagreeing in a polite way with me and they're not tagging me, then please bring my attention to the person in their disagreement so that I can speak to their disagreement while we are live. The troll slayers, by the way, please respect them. They're going to respect you. They should be respecting you. Our troll slayers, they will say to you, if you say something objectionable, please don't say something like that. We don't want that said here for various reasons. It might be rude, or it might risk the channel, or it might give the wrong impression to newcomers about who we are and how we talk. And then if you do it again, they'll delete the comment and they'll ask you not to do that again. If you do it again, they'll delete it again. And then if you do it a third time, they'll ban you from the channel. So they're going to be polite. And then at some point, they're going to take out a very large metaphorical sword. And they will have at you, as they say in Monty Python's Holy Grail movie. Great to see David Lee, Western Kind Artist here, Victorian Time Traveler, Robert Adams, JK160, Diego, Buscape, of course, Franklin. Okay, so I make an argument, and we're going to get to this right now. It's been 30 minutes. I make an argument. I've been doing this, implementing this strategy, the Go Free method, for all of these years, and adding and taking away, submitting everything to the scientific method. Why? Because over the course of our totality of our lives, every vehicle has lost to anti-whiteism. Everyone, religion, every religion, ideology, every ideology, your sports enthusiasm, gone. All all morality and ethics defeated by anti-whiteism. Nothing has stood up against it. Your lodges, your universities, everywhere where people said, we just need to have a good family. Good families defeated by anti-whiteism. Country 90% white defeated by anti-whiteism. So everything is wretched. Everything loses to anti-whiteism. Why is that? Anti-whiteism is psychological warfare. They know the power and how of language, and they know how the mind works. They give people the words to use, and then they end up using them. And you're going to see this in Misha, and you're going to immediately be able to tell how much more powerful she will be when she takes up the concepts of the Go Free method, when she adopts these concepts. Very simple. Nothing esoteric, no weird, you don't need some like weird altar in the closet or something like this. No weird meditation. This is utilitarian, it is effective, and it is extremely powerful, both for the user and those that they come into contact with. So to come to me and sort of, maybe Nationalism TV is joking, because to come to me with all of the work that we have done and all of the results, the positive results that we have achieved, and flippantly say, you don't need all those words. That doesn't really warrant a serious response, because it's not a serious objection. But we'll get back to see if he has anything to say after we get into this young woman, Misha's review here. And isn't this interesting? This is another former anti-white. Now remember, it's a wonderful thing that anti-whites like to call themselves leftist. There's no such thing as leftism in Western civilization that isn't anti-white. And its application, the only way it could be untainted by anti-whiteism is for it to be in theory, which of course we're not talking about. We're talking about the real world. So why was, and I guess we'll hear more from her in her introductory video, why was she a leftist, and what is she running away from? We can make some predictions. I'm sure great champions like Franklin here. This guy is a superhero, by the way. If he doesn't wear a cape, he should. You can make some predictions. Well, being a white female, it's starting to get harder in the anti-white world, isn't it? And so we're seeing a lot of white females come away from anti-whiteism. A lot of them are coming away from anti-whiteism, and they're like, here's why I'm coming away from it. But I wonder how many of them will be willing to really honestly say, well, it's actually because it's really affecting us white girls now. How many of them are going to be honest enough to say that? I wonder. It would be a sign of really good character. Let's see what Misha has to say here. White people are being banned and fired for their race. Tell me if the audio is good for her as well.
Hi guys, it's Misha and welcome back to my channel. So racism is apparently totally fine as long as you are being racist towards white people.
All right. Right away, she's using the concept racism. And that is the concept that defeated Western civilization. No tanks, no supersonic fighter jets, a single concept, the main pillar, the afterbirth concepts attended and associated with the concept racism is what brought down Western civilization. The word racist, the concept racism, means that it is immoral for white people to care about white well-being. It's a tool of social control. It makes it immoral to put an end to the victimization of white people. Now, I don't know if she's going to do it, we'll see. Conservatives, Republicans, they like to pick up the dictionary and say anybody can be racist. But in the world, the definition that matters is out there, and I know I blew people's minds a couple of years ago when I said, where is the definition that matters for the concept racism? And people were throwing out, oh, it's the dictionary. Oh, it's maybe over here, or maybe over there. And then I said, in the heads of the people who were using it. So the concept racist has been isolated and determined to be an evil that only white people can commit. So you're not going to be able to take it away from the anti-whites. And it's been codified in federal and state and county government, all levels of education, including universities, all Western countries, in law. It's also been codified in the national and international corporate codes and businesses everywhere. It's something that white people do. So immediately, never use the concept racist again. Never use the concept racism again. What they are doing to us is anti-whiteism. What they are doing to us is anti-whiteism. You need to call it that. If you fail to call it that, then all of these thought chains that enable you to come to good conclusions, powerful conclusions, disappear for you. You don't have to see them. There is a whole attendant premises associated with it, invisible premises. There are deep, psychologically empowering pieces, if you will, effects, if you will, that come as a consequence of using the concept anti-whiteism for what is done to us, the victimization of our people. So let's move forward.
And I have actually talked to a lot of woke people about this, and they say that you actually cannot be racist towards white people.
That's it. It's exactly right. You cannot. And she's calling them by the name of their taking. You never call your victimizer by the name of their taking, and you never take the names of their giving. They are always going to give themselves the names that empower them and disempower you, because they're very eager to take marching orders from their most intelligent. Over here in the white sympathetic sphere, not so much. I show up and people say, you don't need all those words. On the anti-whites, they're very eager to take the new words that they then go out into the world. And because their victims, the white race, are trapped inside of their anti-white narrative under this onerous burden of anti-white morality, those folks end up using the words, the concepts, the ideas that the anti-whites have given them. And so they can't win. They can't succeed. They have been failing all along because of it until we are here.
It's not a thing. But today I would like to challenge that statement.
White people, I am sorry for calling you crickets, crackers, bleach demons. I'm sorry for calling you untitled documents, crusty eraser shavings, dust mites, chalk chimps. Miguel actually came up with that one. He's sorry. Parmesan parasites.
You can be racist towards white people.
No. So the first...
So first of all, none of those comments that were just said by that anti-white person represent my opinions. So they sounded like they might have been intended as racial slurs for white people. I don't know. I've never heard them before. But they're definitely not representative of my opinion or this channel's opinion on any of my platforms. And we don't respond in kind. If an anti-white is using all of these sorts of racial slurs, that's a good thing because it makes it easy to identify the victim group. But we don't acknowledge their race. We don't care about their race. What we care about is the way they behave. And clearly that monster there with her little teddy bear monkey thing is anti-white.
Story that I would like to discuss is this leaked photo showing the House rules for off-campus housing for UC Berkeley students. And as you can see, this is really racist. So it says POC House guest rules. House members and rules should always be respected by all guests. Make sure your guests understand.
Very quickly, do not use POC or people of color. It is what we refer to as a meme pathogen. It harms the white race by excluding us from humanity. Non-white is a neutral term to mean people who are not white. And that's what POC is referring to. It's just non-white house guest rules. Misha will be empowered by using that instead of the name of their taking.
Your house values and uphold the theme of the house as you are responsible for their behavior. So their theme is racism. Many POC members will appear to be able to avoid white violence and presence. So respect their decision of avoidance if you bring white guests. But white people should have to avoid your house because you are banning white people. They are actually fighting for segregation while preaching how progressive they are. I mean, I can't be the only one that finds for segregation because you are banning white people. They are actually fighting for segregation while preaching how progressive they are. I mean, I can't be the only one that finds this racist.
All right. So, I mean, you can very clearly see what ends up happening to the human brain when you are in a story that is harmful to you, when you are in a narrative that is harmful to you. Your conclusions are harmful to you. This is what I've been teaching now for many, many years. And that's so many people have come to this, and many of whom were already sort of on their own journey figuring this out. And then they have joined themselves to this and are infinitely more powerful as a consequence. You can look at this Misha here, and you can tell this is a bright young lady. She's not coming to these conclusions because she's midget wit. She's coming to these conclusions because these are the natural conclusions of anti-white concepts. This is her only defense. It's like to be attacked by somebody who has a firearm, and then you put up your defense is to put up a smoke signal to identify your location, and then to paint a bullseye on your chest. That is your defense. I mean, you have all that paint on your chest in the form of a bullseye, and people then wonder, why are we losing? So you can tell this is a bright girl. She's going to be able to pick this information up. She's coming to these conclusions that, first of all, she's pointing out the hypocrisy, right? She started off pointing out the hypocrisy a moment ago, saying supposedly non-white people can't be racist. And then she shows an anti-white girl who happens to be non-white saying all of these very anti-white things. So there's hypocrisy. Then she points out the hypocrisy. And remember, the point of ever mentioning hypocrisy for us is to communicate one of the key concepts, one or more of the key concepts. You just mention it as a catalyst for the conversation you want to have. Inside the anti-white narrative, everybody else, the hypocrisy is the end in and of itself. You see these conversations, and you've had them, and you've had them, people do it to you, and they're like, can you believe the hypocrisy? Boom, psh. And then they're like waiting for the applause. You saw the hypocrisy, good. It does nothing. White people find hypocrisy and double standards abhorrent, but there's nothing to act on. What you do is you elicit that disgust in our brothers and sisters, and then you give them something to work with, all right? Then you give them something that empowers them. Some of the concepts, all of the concepts that we share here in the Go Free method. So she says, the hypocrisy, they say they are progressive. That's taking their terminology, legitimizing their ideology, where you cannot win, saying that, well, you're supposed to be progressive, and that means that you welcome everybody. And this is the conservative attempt to play dumb. We saw this with Sean Hannity. We saw this with One Ball Holly. Do you expect that this young lady, Misha, here, is going to be able to get it right when Hannity and One Ball Holly and all of the others are out there playing the conservative Dumbo? Well, I just don't get it. I just don't get it. They say they want to be progressive, but I just don't get it because they're breaking their own rules. Stop playing dumb. Playing dumb doesn't work. She knows Misha is smart. And I guarantee you, if I had her alone in a private conversation, she wouldn't say, well, I don't understand. They seem to be breaking their own rules. I'm so confused by this. I would be able to have her saying in a second, and many of you would as well, to say, yes, it's just about victimizing us. They're not breaking any rules over at, what is this, a society, sorority, fraternity? I don't know what it is. House rules. They're not breaking any of their principles. Their principle is to victimize Western kind, to white erase us, to destroy Western civilization as we have created it. That's their highest principle. So they're not breaking any principles. They can say that we welcome everybody because that statement and that principle operates as a subset of the superset of victimizing Western kind and destroying Western civilization. So naturally, it's the same way with Christianity, for example, right? You say, thou shalt not kill or thou shalt not murder, but you will murder if you have to. You will kill if you have to defend yourself, right? And I know there are Christians out there that say, well, there's a difference. But there's also, and without getting into that, there are also Christians out there that say there's no difference. You should never kill. You should never murder because the good Lord said not to. And you all can have that debate within Christianity if you'd like. But you get my drift. You get my point. That you can have principles inside of a body of thought, in this case, anti-whiteism, that are subservient to, that are subject to an overarching principle. Right? Right. You feed the kids at home. Principle is to feed the kids. But do you feed all kids? Because then you have no money and no food. So they're doing exactly what they want to do. And what they're doing is called anti-whiteism. And if you're new, if you're watching live with us, please, folks, everybody share the URL. Go. There are other live streams going on. I know there are great content creators out there who doom document the shit out of everything, and they doom dissect the shit out of everything. I mean, you just get some doom, some big doom from them. And they give great shows. They're very entertaining. Some of them are very nice people. Mothers love them and everything. And yet we are teaching people here how to take back our destiny. What could be more important? You can go back and get your doom all day long. You can get it everywhere else. There's one place where class is in, God damn it. It's been in for a long time. It's time to stop ignoring it. It's time to share it. This lady right here, if you can talk to her, if you know her, or if you reach out, be polite. If you're a guy and you find her attractive, do not go hunting her because you'd like to have her as a girlfriend or something like that. Be a man of the West about it. But you can reach out politely. You can make suggestions, and maybe we could get her to come on with us, maybe on a tap, and we can talk with her about her journey, just like we're going to be talking with Little Apostate on Wednesday, confirmed at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. So let's continue.
Can you imagine if this was flipped? If white people made an all-white house and said, oh, we actually don't allow black people. I mean, Chanel, Louis Vuitton, they would all have to board up their glass and their stores because people would be looting and rioting again. It would be crazy.
It's the truth. I mean, that kind of thing does happen and we can do this. You can do this. You can do this, like flip. Imagine what it would be like if this were a White House, and not the White House that's just down the road from here, because there's a crazy old man that lives there. Though he's not home, I understand at the moment. You can do that, and again, the purpose is for it to serve as a catalyst to deliver the key concepts that empower people, not to come away from this shocked, not to walk away saying, "Well, God, there it goes again. Golly jeepers, there it goes again." Right? So she's got the potential, doesn't she? She's got the potential to pick this up, and think about how many people she's going to be able to reach. Attractive young woman, articulate. She's going to be able to reach far more people than I am. Even though I'm hot as all hell, and I'm a genius, and was a star athlete, and could have played professional baseball, but made the dumb decision to play college football, and on about how awesome I am. And I'm surrounded by people who are more awesome than me, smarter, singers, better looking, everything under the sun. That is what going free is. And yet we are not going to be able to reach as many people. An attractive young woman can even be dilettantish and put a channel up, and it doesn't matter. So many platforms now, TikTok, doesn't matter where it is. And suddenly just say a couple of things and it's like 100,000 is showing up overnight. It's just pouring in. We need these people to be saying and doing the right thing. If we tolerate, and I'm not misusing the word tolerate, you understand? If we tolerate those in our community who can gain massive audiences just because of the way they look, just because it's an attractive young woman, or what have you, or an interesting, for some reason, like a filthy rich guy or something like that's a streamer or content creator. If we tolerate them using any of the old vehicles, any of the old ideologies, if we tolerate them speaking with the tongue of our victimizers, we're going to all die. We're, in my opinion, of course, ask CNN for anything that's truth that you're looking for. But the West will die. And Western kind will go with it. There's no more room for toleration. And just look at the anti-whites. They are vehemently intolerant about anything that isn't anti-white. And they get their way. It's not just the intolerance, though, but the intolerance is a piece of the overall puzzle. So, although we don't try to ram it down people's throats, instead, we try to win people over, because this is a movement of love, hope, and redemption.
But nothing happens when people are racist towards white people. What is going on? I thought the left was supposed to be super accepting and fighting against racism, but this doesn't look like it to me. This is discrimination based off of people's skin color. And
minimization of race. The MC, race is not skin deep. Race is bio-spiritual. And my opinion, as CNN, but it's bio-spiritual. We do not minimize race. Again, and I'm saying these things repeatedly because they need to be driven home, because I know a bunch of you hearing my voice are hearing what she just said, and you're saying, yeah, that's right. And if I could, I would give you a slap. Probably not in a place you would want it. I'd give you a little slap, because these are not good points. But it's not her fault. It's because of the tools she has been given with which to think. If you do not have the words or concepts in your mind that will save you and our people, you cannot think the thoughts that will save yourself and our people.
And that is racism. It doesn't matter if that skin color happens to be white. You are excluding white people, saying that this is an only POC house. I'm pretty sure all the school said was, oh, but there are some white people there and it is privately owned, so whatever. Yeah, I mean, it makes it totally okay to be banning white people. And we know woke college students are the worst thing ever. I actually showed this picture to you guys a while ago in another video, but my friend sent this to me. He's also in off-campus housing, and he's with a lot of like lefty woke people, and they put this up on the fridge, basically saying they want to kill all cops, which is also fantastic. The next story is about a Minneapolis public school.
Okay, so just really quickly before she gets into her next story, this is a university. It's a house, sorority, fraternity, society, whatever it might be, privately owned, but it doesn't matter. The university would immediately sever ties with the house if this had been the opposite, if this had been reversed. The university would bring the students who live there in to speak with the dean and potentially be kicked out of the school for the actions that they had taken. And even if and their records would be stained for the rest of their lives. If they weren't thrown out of the school, their records would be stained for the rest of their lives. They would have to, this is when you're hauled before an anti-white tribunal, we call it. That is what would happen to white people. Then they would be socially lynched. That's what we say happens to white people. Think for a minute if Misha was talking like that. And then tens of thousands of young, old, whatever, white men and women were hearing her talk about these things like that. That they would pick it right up because they know it would work for them when they go to have an argument with somebody. That's why we call this a curative contagion. You're welcome. All right. So we point out, I just pointed that out, that if this were reversed, the kind of thing that would happen. We have to say why, right? That is only as the fulcrum to make this point. Society is anti-white. We're governed by an anti-white narrative. The university is people. Don't anthropomorphize it. Those people at the university are anti-white. They operate by an anti-white narrative. Ergo, fraternity, sorority, society, whether it's a privately owned home or a part of the university, they are allowed to do what in their minds is perfectly normal. What does this do among many things when you explain it this way? And I wish I could had time to explain all of the different ways that you're empowered. There just isn't. But I will tell you this. It defangs the anti-white narrative's claim that white people are in charge of Western civilization for the empowerment and betterment at the expense of non-whites, of white people. Can you follow that? What kind of power does that yield? When you take the fangs out of the anti-white narratives, one of its most important claims, that white people are in charge for the benefit of white people, and that they are using that power to benefit each other at the expense of non-white people. If you take that away out of the anti-white narrative, a couple of big things happen. You, as the person who understands this, are able to come to conclusions that are salubrious for you and our people, rather than conclusions, ways to push back at, to combat anti-whiteism that are flawed, that are harmful to you and to our people. You're welcome.
Saying that if they have to fire people, they will be starting with about basically saying they want to kill all cops, which is also fantastic. The next story is about a Minneapolis public school saying that if they have to fire people, they will be starting with all the white people first. Teacher.
Okay, many of you have heard about this story. It's about layoffs. And in this case, as you see in many cases, although this is going away, why? Because of the hubris of anti-whites, the power that they wield. They're using fewer and fewer of these like frontline communities for non-white people and all of these other euphemisms for non-white people. And then which leaves nobody to be victimized except for white people. And increasingly, when we say white people, it meant white males. Increasingly, though, it means white females can be victimized as well.
Retention policy in Minneapolis public schools is sparking debate tonight, with language in the union contract saying that when layoffs happen, underrepresented teachers must be skipped over for someone who's not in the underrepresented category.
The Supreme Court made it really clear that you cannot use race alone as the measure of whether to fire someone as an employee.
So nothing.
Okay, that I'm guessing that guy is, let's see. No, it doesn't say anything about it says Upper Midwest Law Center. Okay, so this white guy is trying to make an argument against what the anti-whites are doing. Do you see how he'll lose? He's not calling it anti-white. He's not calling it anti-whiteism. He's not talking about the anti-white narrative and anti-white morality. He's saying the Supreme Court said it can't be on race, on the basis of race or race alone. He's making an argument inside the anti-white narrative. He's appealing to things that don't have power vis-a-vis anti-whites and anti-whiteism. We have already witnessed that the anti-whites are willing to break every law under the sun, every law under the sun, every code, every mode of decorum, every norm in Western civilization. They will shatter to get to anti-white conclusions. So saying the Supreme Court said that you cannot fire people on the basis of skin alone. Again, a minimization of race, right? We're just different paint jobs. Well, probably all of you can see how easy it will be or it would be and was, for the people at this district to word their way around the problem of getting rid of people on the basis of their race. And furthermore, judges, appeals judges, and the rest, nodes of power occupied by anti-whites are going to very easily find nothing wrong whatsoever. Now, it doesn't mean that there won't be a lawsuit in this case that might succeed. We saw this here or there in the U.S. With firefighters suing because they weren't taking white applicants, and yet, and success in a couple of areas, and yet it continues. But you say, Jason, there's a precedent. Who's operating the mechanisms of legality? Who are you appealing to? It is foolish to use your time in any way other than to empower our brothers and sisters out there with the concepts that put them in their own story. So to make this claim now that, well, it's not allowed to do it because the Supreme Court said you just can't do it on race alone. Fine. The county will say, what did they say? Underprivileged, unrepresented, or whatever. So there, you're defeated. It's not just about, these are groups of people. It's not just race. And then this guy might say, or not just skin. And then this guy might say, well, I pulled out some law books here, and plenty of times you all made arguments just on the basis. You said it was only skin that was keeping them from the water fountain. So what? So that's what they're going to say to you. So what? We win again. You lose, dum-dum. And he's probably a great guy. He's probably a smart guy. Looks like a handsome guy. Very handsome guy. Probably making good money. I hope he has himself a wife and having kids. I want him to be stronger. I don't want him to be trapped in their narrative, saying things that are harmful for him and his family's children, etc.
Use race alone as the measure of whether to fire someone as an employee.
So nothing to do with merit or how good you are at your job. Strictly, this is based off of your skin color. And our third story once again shows us that these people believe that being racist towards you and firing you based off of your skin color is a-okay. About a year ago at a Chicago museum, they were firing mostly white older women. And they were saying that this was because of a lack of diversity. This happened at the Art Institute of Chicago, and I can't help but wonder how many of those women were super woke, the types to be saying that America is inherently racist towards African Americans, and here they are being sacked for being white. So it's okay to be racist as long as you are targeting white people. Looking at the color of their skin and making that a deciding factor in whether or not they should be fired. I mean, how disrespectful to those people who are actual victims of racism. What do you guys think? I think this is racist. Let me know. That's all I have for today's video. Please remember to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you guys don't miss it.
Okay. What do y'all think? I mean, she's asking. What do y'all think? Tag me. No white guilt. Tag me. No white guilt. Financially gift if you'd like. We do have a financial gift. Thank you so very much from a young lady I haven't seen in a while. Tomorrow. Thank you so very much. She gave a $5 financial gift over here on Cash App. I appreciate you appreciating my efforts to teach people how to win in their lives so that we can win as a people. And she also gave like a little emoji flower with the $5. Thank you so much, Tamar. Really appreciate it. All right, let me check over here. We'll pull this one down for a moment and maybe listen to her introductory video. and see what she has to say there. But one of the things I wanted to mention, she did point out the Art Institute in Chicago and what they did there. Of course, she's probably right that the docents, they weren't paid, right? This was all volunteer, and I believe, and they had to go through this extensive training to be able to take people through the museum and speak intelligently to the different works of art, and probably some works of trash that are allowed to be there because of the anti-white narrative. And so this was a volunteer space that required a lot of education. And as a consequence, perhaps, it was almost 100% white. My opinion, that's the way I remember it. And then they said they had been trying to get rid of a lot of these white people because they wanted diversity. And diversity means what? Fewer white people. So each year, the head of the museum, and I guess whoever's next down, I recall reading about this, that they had all these campaigns to try to bring in non-white docents, and they were ticking up very slowly, get one here, one there, and they get rid of some other white person, probably the males first, leave the white females there. Were probably rabidly anti-white. Misha's probably right here, that they were rabidly anti-white, or likely to be. And then finally, whoever's in charge and the next person down said, well, we've had enough. We've been trying I think it was several years they've been trying to get rid of white people and increase the diversity. So get rid of white people, to white erase them from that Art Institute. Finally, they just said, okay, they're all gone. We'll just go without docents, or we'll just lower the standard of being a docent at this Art Institute of Chicago so we can just get rid of these damn white people. That happened, as I recall. It's my opinion, but definitely check it out with CNN and Google and Twitter and whoever else, maybe on YouTube, will give you all the info you need on what exactly took place. And my memory might be failing me, but that's how I remember it. The other thing I wanted to point out was you heard young Misha mention that this had nothing to do with merit when it came to letting people go for layoffs at that county that is deciding that the white people have to go, just like the Art Institute. The white people had to go, had to be white erased. And there's another that's another concept from the Go Free method, that if you don't have it, you're not empowered by it. So concepts matter. And she brought up this word merit. And you often hear conservatives, content creators, and Republican leaders, and as a consequence, all the great rank and file folks, they hear that from these people, the Sean Hannitys of the world and the One Ball Hollies of the world and Jim Jordans, or they talk about the meritocratic system and how it's supposed to be. No appeal to that. Never appeal to that. It can be like your weakest point that you're going to make, because it relies on the anti-white meme pathogen. So I'm redundant there. That society should be colorblind. Now, that was a meme pathogen that is still rarely used, but used to be a force like the sun in the sky. I mean, the anti-whites, for decade after decade, shoved this down your throat, that it should just be the content of your character. It should be how well you do the job. And hundreds and hundreds of millions of white people around the world said, yes, that's fair. And principally, they said that's fair because they had adopted radical individualism, which is suicide in a world of collectives. There's no individual is going to succeed against the collective. And so, as a consequence, they said, well, we're radical individualists, and we would like everybody else to be radical individualists like us. So if we just tell everyone that our position is that we're all about merit, how much you've done, how much you bring to the table, how good you are, how many dues you've paid. That then these other groups of people, these anti-whites out there of all races, will say, well, gee, that's a fair argument. Guess I can't disagree with that. I mean, that makes sense. That was the meritocracy argument is a proxy position. It's a proxy position. You are defending a place where you are not being attacked. You have to defend the spot at which you're being attacked, and that is on the basis of your race, not your skin color, your race, that you're Western kind, that you are a Westman, man, woman, or child, that you are white. That's where you're being attacked. That's where you have to defend yourself. Don't let a politician say to you, or a cuckold content creator say to you, that they're attacking meritocracy. Because meritocracy is only damaged as collateral damage to the victimization of Western kind. Meritocracy doesn't matter because they are destroying Western civilization. So you can come up with endless analogies about, I've talked about like with the house on fire and you're busily spraying for bugs in the house. There's no use in defending a spot that isn't under attack, defending a concept that isn't the primary thing that's under attack. All right, let me see about entropy. All right. The great Mrs. Jess Horst is here. Yesterday, I'm going to sing that song we were playing at the beginning. That is Jared George's new magnificent song, I Have Made. Make sure if you get an opportunity to play it over the weekend on Spotify, because it'll up his song in the algorithm and perhaps end up getting played more. She financially gifted him $100 for that beautiful song. Please do at least give him a big attaboy pat on the back. But Mrs. Jess Horst financially gifting $10 here. She says with this, thank you so much, sister. Hail, go free and be, she says, hail, go free and be a participant, exclamation point. Every single one of you has something to contribute. Take back the narrative. Be the hero in our story and maybe someone else's. Hail, Western kind. Amen, sister. Thank you so much for that. Beautifully written. We also have Lawrence here, financially gifting 10 Canadian bacon dollars. The tastiest of dollars on planet Earth are the bacon Canadian ones. He says with those Canadian bacon dollars, hello, brother. I'm 99% on board with your message. But the powers that be, so the anti-white regime, I presume you're referencing, have us all referring to various races, primarily in terms of color, white, black, brown, etc. Yes, that's true. Talk about minimization of race. It's also childish. What is the best alternative for us? And then he gives some names. Western kind, my friend. Western kind. Westman. Man, woman, and child. M-A-N and M-E-N. These other terms that you're using here, European doesn't cut it and never has. And there are a lot of reasons why. And one of the main reasons today is that white people outside of Europe do not see themselves as European. And calling them European derived is clunky and unaesthetic and simply will not work. You also have non-white people are European. You have millions of whites around the world who would absolutely say that if a black family has been in France, they even just get their paperwork that says they're French. They are suddenly European. And if they've been there for, say, 5 generations, 10 generations, everyone is going to call them European. So it's ill-defined, clunky, and unusable. Caucasian includes people who are not white. There are other peoples of the Caucasus who are simply not white. It is another unaesthetic, ugly word that doesn't identify the people with any of their creations, any of what they project onto the world, which is something that can't be argued. When we talk about ourselves as Westmen and Western kind, by the way, both of those terms, everybody who's honest with themselves, I only have problems with me-nots who will come up and say, no one will know what that means. No one will like it. No one will know it. Everybody I talk to where I use these for the first time, they know like that what it means. So maybe some of these me-nots that are having a problem, that's a personal issue for them. But they instantly know what it means. To call us Western kind, Westmen, immediately points to what we create. No Asian people, as wonderful as Asian people are, have ever made Western civilization. No Jews, as wonderful as they might be, have ever made Western civilization. No blacks, no Arabs. Similarly, no white race anywhere, no white ethnicity anywhere has ever made Jewish civilization. No white ethnicity has ever made black civilization. None of these things are better than any other. We have a preference for what we create, and that makes sense when you understand the biospirit of a people. You want to harmonize with what's inside of you. You want to have it in the outside world, because when you have it in the outside world, you feel harmony with your place in that outside world. So when we call ourselves Western kind or in Westmen, we are identifying what we do on planet Earth that no one else has ever done. And guess what that does? That crosses all the barriers of our ethnicities, all of our beautiful hues of Western civilization. It ties it all together as one people. You could move me to Poland and I'm going to see Western civilization. I'm going to fit in. You could move me anywhere. You could move them here. They're going to see Western civilization. Now, when I say here, I mean in areas that we have created and it hasn't been perverted against us, right? So that you understand that. So we tie ourselves together as a single people, crossing all of the ethnic divides in the body of our people. There's no overcoming that. There's no overcoming that objection. There's no confusing it with your average vague out there, which is the word we just use for our brothers and sisters, because they're very often their beliefs are vague, and they're certainly vague to us if we don't know them, where they stand. So they're all going to understand, there's a people that creates Western civilization. That people are Northern European, they're Southern European, they're Eastern European, they're Western European. You don't have all of these battles about what does it really mean to be Caucasian? What does it really mean to be European? And then the last name identifier that you ask about there, Aryan, is a thoroughly demonized word. You might as well call us Satans, not Satanists, just Satans. That word and I understand, Lawrence, you could say, well, I know the real definition of this word. I know what it really means. And it means, and I've had these conversations, trust me, with good people. And they'll say in person, and they'll say, but Jason, and then they start to tell me the history of the word Aryan and all of the different tribes and where they traveled and all of that sort of stuff. And that's a wonderful education to have. And you can research it yourself and know exactly what it truly means, like objectively, as far as you're concerned, and maybe many others as far as they're concerned. But the bottom line is our brothers and sisters in their hundreds of millions around planet Earth, growing up inside the anti-white narrative, understand that word, that name, to be evil, tantamount evil, in also to represent an ideology, a government, and a world war that they understand to be the manifestation of pure evil on planet Earth. Now, you might think to yourself, brother, well, they need to know that, okay, that's a great wish. It's a great wish. They need to know what I'm not saying you research this. This is the kind of arguments that I've had brought to me in their thousands. The people need to know. Well, that's a great wish, but we have to deal with them where they are. We don't have time to re-educate the entire planet. We don't have time. And by the way, it's not possible. We don't have time to wait or to sit on our laurels and to say to ourselves, we would easily have victory if everybody just knew what I knew. It just doesn't work that way. So that's a great question. That's a great question, Lawrence. I really thank you. And I encourage you, brother, to try out Westman and Western Kind on your friends, your family, strangers online. You might get a question like, well, what do you mean by Western Kind? Well, it's the real name, and use the word real there. It's the real name for white people. Then you use the ancillary there to help them. They say, well, anybody in Western civilization, Western Kind? Well, do they create Western Kind without, or Western civilization? Did they create Western civilization where they came from? Not saying that they're any less or any more. They just don't create Western civilization. I don't create Nigeria. I could learn all I wanted about it. I can't create it. I could revere everything that they've done. I can't create it. All right? So it's a very easy thing to communicate. And the sooner we have people talking about our people with these terms, the more powerful we will be. Thank you. I appreciate that. And by the way, very big content creators are now using Western Kind, our definition. By the way, just as an aside, I saw these me-nots. They see our big victories out there because we have these targeted efforts, group efforts, solo efforts, but all organized and having huge success with a message of love, hope, and redemption, and getting huge content creators to use the lexicon that, if it's good for Western Kind to put an end to anti-whiteism, that ends up being good for everybody of all immutable characteristics in Western civilization, because they want things like law and order and civility and the kinds of things that Western civilization brings to the table, to someone's life. And these me-nots tried saying, oh, you're just trying to take credit for what this guy or that guy did. And then one of our champions, I think it was Franklin here, it might have been one of the others, I think it was Franklin, stepped in and said, hey, dumbass, he actually puts our definition up on videos he's made. I mean, but this is the kind of people that you're dealing with when you deal with me-nots. Every one of them is just scum, just lowest characters that out there that you can imagine. Great question. Thank you, Lawrence. And folks, we're going to be getting to this other video of hers in just a moment, of Misha's. We have EXO here, financially. Well, we went from 10 Canadian bacon dollars to 10 hoppin' dollars from down under, Australia style, baby. And he says with those 10 hoppin' dollars for white well-being. Thank you so much, EXO. I really appreciate it. Back to Canada. We're going all around the globe. We have Vincent financially gifting 10 Canadian bacon dollars as well. Thank you, good brother. He says with those $10, hey, Jason, I was doxxed at Seaville and always have to deal with people learning about it and freaking out, wondering if they are going to get in trouble for not breaking up their relationship with me. Wondering if they are, oh, okay. I wanted to thank you for giving me the ability to defend myself in a white positive way. Let's get this man a round of raucous emojis. Thank you very much, Vincent. Thank you very much for that testimonial. That's powerful. There are going to be people listening right now to your words, and their lives are going to change. He says, one more time, with 10 Canadian bacon dollar financial gift, hey, Jason, I was doxxed at Seaville and always have to deal with people learning about it and freaking out, wondering if they're going to get in trouble for not breaking up their relationship with me. I wanted to thank you for giving me the ability to defend myself in a white, positive way. God bless you, Vincent. That is awesome. Yeah, and think about how horrible that is. Here you have Vincent, and Vincent, you're not alone, brother. There are hundreds of thousands alive this day that have taken up other vehicles, that have taken up other ideologies, that have already failed in their contest with anti-whiteism, those vehicles and ideologies. And you're told, all of you, Vincent, you were told this is the way to go. This is how you have to talk. This is how you defend yourself against anti-whiteism. This is the only way, this way or there's no way. And if you don't stick with it, by God, they're going to slander you and your reputation. They're going to hunt you down online and tell everybody a bunch of lies about you. And now, because Vincent had talked that way, had adopted that, and that wasn't his true character, that didn't resonate with him. Nobody who goes into that, except the sickest SOBs, find that they resonate with these ugly ideologies and thought patterns, hating on other groups of people, focusing on other groups of mankind. The vast majority of our people, it doesn't resonate with them. They feel out of sorts. They feel like they are playing indeed the villain in the anti-white narrative, because they are. So that didn't resonate with Vincent. You know how I know? Because Vincent left that and came to white positivity. He knows he resonates with a focus and love on our people and the defense of our people against the victimization of anti-whites. But I want you all to think about this for a minute. And especially keep this in mind when me-nots show up and they want to slander me with lies and etc. Or people just showing up and they just want to say, well, your way is just wrong and I just say so. It's not my way. It's the way that works. We're just finding it. It's like white people discover so many things. I mean, do you say it's oil works because of the people who found it? Seriously. So look at Vincent's life now. He has to go around for his life, in every walk of his life. Maybe if he has a wife, with his wife, maybe trying to date. Maybe he's got children on sports teams and he meets their dads and moms. Imagine this, really imagine this. Going to work, maybe got to change jobs often. And then when people find out that he went to Charlottesville and or held the beliefs or statements, maybe he said things publicly, then he has to wonder, are they going to ostracize me from that friend group, from that friend circle? Every aspect of his life because of it. Every aspect of his life. This is why I have gotten so passionate over the years and angry about these me-nots showing up and saying, it's got to be this way that ruins people's lives, like Vincent here. And it's to varying degrees. Some people's lives are so ruined they kill themselves. Other people's lives, it's a little less, but it's everybody they meet. Are they going to find out? Are they going to find out that I said some really ugly, stupid things that didn't actually sit with my character, that weren't actually me? So I know that that's happening in the world. You know that that's happening in the world. And please let me know if the mic is still okay or if it sounds thin or whatever it is. I'll work on it. I know that it's happening to these people's lives, and their lives matter to me for whatever reason. It's just how I'm built. I don't want them to go through life having to worry about, is this girl not going to talk to me anymore when she finds out about Charlottesville? Or how about this? The girl I'm dating, her parents found out about Charlottesville and this really ugly thing that I said online. And now are they going to tell her that she can't date me anymore? For the rest of their lives. I don't want that to be people's lives. I want them to be powerful. I want them to glow incandescent like a brand new star in their lives. Just because it's the right thing. But on top of that, now that Vincent is implementing the Go Free method in his life, he's going to be able to empower himself. He's going to be able to go free of the mean pathogens that we all are infected with. And he's going to be able to influence the world around him like he just did. And what happens when you have a neighborhood, a county, a city, a state of white people who glow like newly born stars? Where they are, whatever that might be. Because that's where we need white people, everywhere they are. Not some not gathering all of the losers and people that we made into losers into some sort of horde outside of the anti-white citadel of state. And then we're all going to pick up pitchforks and torches and go running toward it while they machine gun, and they have ROVs, and they have less than lethal weaponry that's like out of Star Trek and everything. Are you joking? I mean, who are these just witless me-nots out there that are able to brainwash people into that mindset? God bless you, brother. And I'm really sorry that we couldn't get to you before you ended up in that circumstance. But your life, it can only get better from here forward. The more you go free, the more powerful you will be. The more you'll be able to explain to those people in your life, in your world, that, hey, I got involved in caring about the white race because it's the right thing. Because anti-whiteism is the great evil of our age. But I got sidetracked by stupid people. It was a crazy time. I got sidetracked by stupid people. I said stupid things. I now know they're stupid. But I've been implementing the Go Free method, and I know that this is all about love. I know that good people of all immutable characteristics are called to defeat the great evil of our age, which is anti-whiteism. You'll be able to take that into every conversation where people try to demonize you for having trod the wrong path for a while. Lawrence comes back with $10 more. I'm going to read this, and then I think we will get into the rest of her next video, because I'm curious what she has to say about, she was anti-white, but she'll say leftist, of course. Lawrence, $10 more. That means Lawrence, but Canadian bacon dollars, has hit the $20 minimum for 07s. Let's get Lawrence some 07s, some raucous emojis, some W's for win or V's for victory. Thank you, Lawrence. He says, I appreciate the thoughtful and thorough response to my question comment, Jason. I will start using Western kind and let you know how it goes. Blessings for now. Well, God bless you, man. That's fantastic. Do it. I guarantee you're going to be really happy with the results. I guarantee you. And you're going to come up against anti-whites out there. We all will. That are just vicious. And they're going to deny you everything. They'll even say, oh, there's nothing anti-white is going on in the world. So you know that they'll say, there's no such thing as Western kind. When they say that, you just say, thank you. Because now I know enough from you to end this conversation and get to somebody who can hear salvation, who can hear redemption. Unless there's an audience, and then you can use the anti-white as a foil to educate your audience about anti-whiteism. But I guarantee you're going to have success. The sad thing is, when it comes to all of these, we're like Western kind, if I kick the bucket in my sleep tonight, everybody would start using Western kind tomorrow, and you know it. It's just jealousy. That's all it is. Everybody would start using anti-whiteism with no problem. Everybody would start using Westman, no problem. But again, white people finding oil doesn't make oil do the things that oil does, right? Oil refined and made into petrol and everything else under the sun. It's going to do what it's going to do because it's the property in the physical universe that works when it is refined, etc. The Go Free method is the collection of properties that work in the social universe. So if you want to appreciate me, like Vincent is saying here, it's because I stick with it. I keep pushing and pushing and pushing. And fortunately, I've got all these great champions coming on board, and they're pushing, these great heroes, and they're pushing. So if you're grateful for anything, I will definitely take the plaudits for relentlessly pushing what works against what doesn't work and what harms people. Because let me tell you, it's so much fun to have me-nots running up to me and saying, hey, that doesn't work, and you have to do it this way. That failed 100 times already on an enormous scale, global scale. And oh, by the way, you are some kind of a homosexual that loves having sex with children from Mars. The kind of things these people are willing to say. Okay, over there on, let me see, I'll just pull this up now. Where is this young lady's other? Nope, that's not what I want to do. Where is her other video? That's not it. I think that's it. How's that look? Is that right? Do I still sound normal? Has the mic changed? Is it all right? Okay. Big hello to EXO. EXO says, hey, no, I don't. Had an Englishman workmate laugh when I called him a indigenous Brit. I went on to say, oh, so it's only non-whites who can be indigenous. He was quite shocked. Hopefully, I stirred his mind. The anti-white is strong within him. Yes. He says, critique about my approach would be well received. Well, thank you for the question, brother. Yeah, I wouldn't. It's like engaging in that big project on Indigenous Peoples Day. That's apples and oranges to calling white people indigenous, like an indigenous Brit or an indigenous. Plenty of people will say that whites are indigenous to the United States. You'll see people say, well, my family's been here so many generations. I'm indigenous. I'm a native, right? You'll also hear them say that because they'll talk about the Iberians or Solutreans, that when, all that information, you'll have to research it on your own. When that came out, and then the anti-white regime, put its foot down on the neck of even the guy who ran the institute in Washington, D.C., who had all the material. He was in charge of the whole institute. But these sorts of things they're not going to empower you or our people to try to say something like indigenous Frenchman or indigenous German, indigenous Italian. It's like a kind of a silly thing. You're kind of just, and the issue here is that you're taking an anti-white concept within the anti-white narrative, and you're staying inside of it by just doing this sort of flipping it around. And everybody can see that you've just flipped it around. And therefore, what does it do in the minds of your audience? It invokes the original concept. It's why I don't like using White Lives Matter. Participated in the project with Mark, and of course, it was magnificent. But saying White Lives Matter doesn't get people thinking about White Lives Matter. It gets people thinking about the original concept, and it gets them also Black Lives Matter, and it gets them thinking that you are some sort of child and you're just flippantly flipping this. And so you can see it's a very weak thing to do. So I would do the same thing. I mean, with your buddies there in the UK, you're Westman. You are Westman. I mean, we have to start making that cool. We need memes of like soldiers and statesmen, and you have their image, and then you use the word Westman some way with the meme. So you might take maybe a painting of Alexander the Great, and you might say, one of the greatest Westmen to ever live. And we start seeding that into the conversation, and people will pick it up. Rest assured that out in the white sympathetic sphere, implicit and explicit, those who are not me-nots and who just have a hard-on for me, they'll be able to pick it up. They'll think that's cool. And everybody knows, come on, everybody knows. If a video game came out and say I had never said Westman, if a video game came out and it was just like some like barbarian, and as you waged your battles as this barbarian, time went by, and then he became, like a hoplite, and then he became, and on, and it was just like one kick-ass warrior after another. Maybe the game's just called Westman. Think about it. That seems cool as hell. That seems really cool. Like if a game could be like Westman, the Eternal Brotherhood, and then it shows like fighters from all these different hues of Western civilization. Everybody would pick that up overnight. Nobody would complain at all. I mean, me with all of these years, and I swear to God, it's taken 20 years off my life, hearing all of the endless complaints about these things. EXO giving me a salute. Thank you, brother. All right, let me see. Still, nobody over there at Rumble. I guess I might be doing something wrong. Somebody's going to have to tell me what's wrong. I see we have some Nationalism TV. I will get to your questions, brother. Absolutely. Your comments. And keep using the wrong mouse over there. And but first we're going to get to this. We're going to see what she has to say.
And welcome back to my channel. So today I wanted to make a video talking about why I left my old university and overall the left. So I'm just going to discuss some of the crazy things I saw in my old university, including the political agendas and all that great stuff. Before we get started, please make sure you guys hit subscribe and the notification bell so you guys don't miss my videos. So I grew up calling myself a Democrat and pretty liberal, all that stuff, because all my friends were liberals and I went to a liberal high school. So I just So
that's the peer pressure. It's important. It's important to observe that it's, I mean, I could write the script out for these people, exactly what they're going to say. So many females are like, I did it because everybody around me was doing it. It was said, I was told it was the cool thing. It was the fashionable thing. And that's why so many females do anything. Not all of them, but many.
Identified with that. Didn't really agree with a lot of stuff that my friends were saying, but kind of kept quiet because I saw everyone else that were speaking their minds literally getting shunned by the rest of the students. So I was like, okay, better.
Boom. Boom. That is glorious. I'm so happy we turned this video on. She said that she disagreed with a lot of the things that were said. But what didn't she say there? She mentioned that anybody who disagreed got shunned, they got ostracized. The people who were voicing their opinions were the anti-whites. She's referring to it as woke or liberal or leftist or Democrat, right? What's she not saying there? There's a subtext there that is extremely important. What is it? She is saying, I didn't have any way to morally disagree with everybody around me. Now, what if Misha and those others who ended up getting shunned and ostracized and hated for disagreeing, for being heretical to anti-whiteism, had the concepts that we provide here with the Go Free method? You have to be able to hear what is not said, but that which is screamed nonetheless.
Better not touch that, because I knew, I can't really say what I actually think. But I think my journey started after I watched The Social Dilemma, which is an amazing documentary that I watched on Netflix. I don't know if it's on Netflix anymore, but either way, it was so amazing, and I want to talk a little bit about that. So this was around the 2020 election, I believe. It basically talks about how big tech companies such as Facebook and YouTube were advertising certain videos to certain people. So let's say that you are a very conservative person, you're going to keep getting very conservative YouTube videos, for example, because they sell your information to other companies, and then those companies will say, oh, this person wants to see X, Y, and Z, and so they will promote that on your page. I was getting a bunch of lefty, woke type of content, but this creates the illusion that everyone around you thinks the same way as you do.
I want to jump in really quickly. Does anybody out there get a ton of conservative businesses from Facebook and Twitter and etc.? Is anybody being recommended? I think what she watched there, I haven't seen it, but if she's characterized it accurately, I think they are incorrect. They are doing what she's just went into saying there. They create the illusion that everybody is anti-white so that you will keep your opinions to yourself. And that's all the easier done, because if you don't have the concepts of the Go Free method, then everything you have to say is something that is immoral in their story.
Which is not the case. With my school and the people I associated with being very left-leaning, I thought that the right was just this small group of hillbilly, bigoted, racist people, because that's what they made them seem like.
Anti-white
because
narrative.
I was really blown away by this, I shared a post. It was basically a short clip of the documentary where the guy was talking about how it's really upsetting that friendships are being torn apart just because of political views. And that really hit home for me, because I wasn't agreeing with a lot of what my friends were saying. This was during BLM and, the Biden and Trump election. So a lot of the things that my friends were saying, I wasn't in agreement with, and I felt very pressured to either keep silent or agree. So I posted this because in general, I thought it was really sad that a lot of friendships were being broken just because of a disagreement in political views, which I always thought was silly, because why can't we live in harmony and still be friends even if we have different political views? It's really good to be friends with someone that has a different...
Stop. This is what I would actually say if she were sitting in front of me. Stop talking. Stop. My hand is stop. No more talking from you. It's not really good to be friends with people who want to victimize Western kind, who want to harm white babies. That's not good. These people were never your friend. I mean, you had associates. You had people you knew. But if a person that you thought was your friend said to you, or you found out, if you weren't around, they'd kill your mom. If you weren't there, like if they show up one day, they're going to kill your mom. That's not really your friend, right? I mean, maybe you went ice skating, maybe you did all these wonderful things, right? But you find out that he or she would just kill your mom if you weren't there. That was not really a friend from the beginning. Anybody who wants to inflict injury on Western kind is no friend of Westmen, men, women, or children. No friend. And so this claim about, I think it's really good that we can be friends with people we disagree with, is an argument from what? Can anybody finish the sentence? It is an argument from weakness. It's an argument that is a plea to a victimizer. Please let me disagree. And the reason why that is a reasonable argument, the reason why that occurs is because she doesn't have anything else of any power to bring to that conversation. I really hope I'm driving this home, and I really hope that you all will, let her know that we're live right now if you can, if she's accessible, if you know her. Make sure she gets this. Make sure people in your world who need it get this Roll In, Go Free tonight.
Perspective and a different view on life in general, because if you're with the same people who have the same exact view as you, it doesn't really promote thinking or questioning anything. I thought that was really sad that we don't have these sort of debates and discussions anymore. Everyone has to agree with you, and if they don't, you can't be friends. I always thought that was really silly. So I'm gonna show you guys the video really quick.
The false sense that everyone agrees with you, because everyone in your newsfeed sounds just like you. And that once you're in that state, it turns out you're easily manipulated.
We all simply
this is hard to hear.
A different set of facts. When that happens at scale, you're no longer able to reckon with or even consume information that contradicts with that worldview that you've created. That means we aren't actually being objective, constructive individuals.
What are Republicans like?
People that don't have a clue.
The Democrat Party is a crime syndicate, not a real political party.
Let me just pause that really quickly, because I don't know if they're going to try to DMCA or who knows. But is this a video that is supposed to be for conservatives or Republican rank and file? Because if it is, then whatever it's going to be communicating, if it's not the Go Free method, is going to be something that disempowers rather than empowers. Again, they're making the argument that she echoed about We need to be able to hear the other side's views. Please let me disagree with you, anti-whites.
A huge new Pew Research Center study of 10,000 American adults finds us more divided than ever, with personal and political polarization at a 20-year high.
More than a third of Republicans saying the Democratic Party is a threat to the nation. More than a quarter of Democrats saying the same thing about the Republicans.
Look at this guy. I shared a meme earlier. Is this a guy that's from that, one of the makers or one of the content creators? I shared a meme earlier. I actually found it on Little Apostate's Twitter. Where is it? Oh, here we go. And I had remembered, I had read this before many years ago, and for years I was trying to remember the quote because I knew it generally and who had said it. So I'm going to share this again. It's very relevant. So you have Thucydides is saying here, the society that separate. Now he was a Greek general and historian, ancient Greece. The society that separates its scholars from its warriors will have its thinking done by cowards and its fighting by fools. Look at this guy. Does he look like a warrior? Is that what you want? Coming up with the ideas that you will go into a battle of ideas with? Think of so many other content organizational leaders over your totality of your life. Until me, quite frankly, there hasn't been any content creator that is physically robust, athletic, able to fight and kick ass, and a genius. That is what Thucydides was talking about. You need to have your leaders be both physically and mentally adept. If they are only mentally adept, they are cowards. And that is why we are given cowardly approaches to defend ourselves. This approach here to say, well, victimizer, people are so in disagreement. Please let folks hear what we have to say. Please allow us to disagree a smidge. You know the next position that they take. By the way, that should maybe even be clipped out. But you know the next position they're going to take is, well, I agree with you on 90% of your anti-whiteism. I just agree with you on 10% of your anti-white, just the cutting edge anti-white things that you want to do today. But everything from the past that you've done to destroy Western civilization and Western kind, full agreement there. That's the next argument that your coward thinkers are going to give you. If it's not something like that, it's going to be just joking. Just joking. You don't understand where I'm coming. Just joking. Can't you handle the irony? I was just kidding all along.
So after I posted this, I wasn't really expecting anything. I just posted it because I thought it was very true and resonated with me. But I was surprised. I got 3 or 4 of my friends text messaging me saying, why would you post that? Are you a Trump supporter now? Like, what's going on? Basically, they were ready to attack me. They were proving my point that I can't really post or say anything without people getting defensive or offended. And it really made me miss the days when we could all say, oh, let's agree to disagree. Because I used to...
Nah, that's never happened. Only in conservative, nationalist, patriot circles. And this is another one of those weak arguments. Can't we just agree to disagree? No, they want you dead. They want you white erased. They want your civilization destroyed and remade into something vehemently anti-white. And they're doing it every day. So you need to stop saying, can't we just agree to disagree? Can't we just have different opinions? No, you need to be more intolerant of anti-whiteism than they are intolerant of heresy to anti-whiteism, or you are not going to survive.
Say that a lot when I would have debates with other people, and we were like, yeah, you think this way, I think this way, it doesn't look like we're gonna find common ground, so let's just agree to disagree. But now that does not exist. If you disagree, You have to be canceled and shunned. There's no freedom of speech anymore. So after high school...
Don't use canceled. That's one of their terms. It's one of their anti-white concepts. It minimizes the ruination of your life to something equivalent to a TV show getting canceled. Absolutely do not use that.
I went to my old university, which was known to be very, or not very, but pretty liberal in the sense that that's what they call themselves, even though they don't hold any of the actual traditional liberal values like freedom of speech, freedom of religion. And let me tell you, the first day, guys, I went into the campus. I had to use the bathroom, right? So I go into the restroom, and what do I see? I see a man, a 20-year-old man just in the bathroom. Let's say that this person was transgender.
What did I say at the beginning of this stream? What did I say? What did I say about why white females are coming over increasingly? Do I need to like break out a crystal ball? I mean, I got one. It's between my ears. But I mean, do I have to wear like some sort of weird headdress, burn some incense, put some strange things on the walls behind me or something? I mean, what do I got to do? Am I David Copperfield? Or do I just know what I've been studying for decades? So she goes to university. Isn't this, you almost be like, if you're at the point where you're doing it, you're like, yes. If you're at the point in your go free journey where you're able to do this yourself, you're like, yes, thank God I'm here too. And if you're not there yet, you're saying, holy shit, that's exactly what this guy said.
Gender, right? There wasn't any effort into presenting female, none. Okay, no like wig, no makeup, like zero. It was just a guy in a t-shirt, jeans.
And I will continue to go on the record. Thank God that anti-whiteism has become so powerful that you can have these imaginary females. You know, they're born with a penis, but they decide they're going to transition. They decide it means to picture oneself, imaginary. They see themselves as a woman and they're going to get to live as a woman. Thank God. I want them to stay in female sports. And all the ladies out there that say, oh my God, you feel gut shot right now. Civilization has a chance to survive. Western civilization has a chance to survive because you all now are having to feel the pain. Beginning, you just have a little tiny bit of an understanding of what it's like to be a white male in the world and be shit on everywhere. And in particular, most painfully by white women. So thank God that woman was in that bathroom. She should have said, I'm sorry, ma'am.
And I was looking around, I'm like, there are other women in this bathroom, and there's this guy in here. No one is saying anything. No one is giving it a second thought. I'm like, well, I'm uncomfortable. So
a white female finally been made uncomfortable. I'm not getting, hard or angry or with Misha here. It's just a reality of the world. We men of the West built Western civilization. We put up these beautiful fences and we fought back with our blood, our lives, our sinew, our brains, our intelligence, our creativity. We fought back everything that tried to dominate us. Disease, other tribes, the vicissitudes of the weather, on and on. We fought it all back. We brought water to the desert. We made the desert bloom. And all the white females that were there, maybe like the first generation or so, they were like, yay, you guys are amazing. White men are something else. And then after that, they didn't know the jungle was out there anymore. They never had to feel discomfort. So many of the women who end up in the white sympathetic sphere and are like, enough is enough. For some reason, one or another, they've been made to feel the discomfort. They couldn't be a female and get out of it, that discomfort, by being a female, even though they were white. But now they have to feel discomfort. And that's a good thing.
do 180 and I leave, because everyone feels like if they tell this person, you can't be in here, you're a dude, they're gonna get canceled. And then my classes start, and there were trigger warnings on every piece of literature. If you had this in your past, if you experienced that, you can leave the class, you don't have to do this, you don't have to do that. Literally raising toddlers, like you have to be coddled and protected from everything in the world. That's not how the world works. It was so annoying. Everything that we read and everything that we watched, the teachers had to put a trigger warning, even if it wasn't in any way offensive. This documentary says this curse word, so if you feel offended by this, then, you know, let the teacher know and you can exit the classroom during this part of the documentary. I was so confused. Within that same week, I was asked to then write a paper about how I was privileged being white, but also marginalized being a woman. So this was some intersectionality paper.
Oh, that's very, very interesting, isn't it? So you see the leftover, and they'll be cut out. White women will be cut out, but this is the leftover, sort of like a vestigial limb in anti-whiteism. When anti-whites of all races needed white women to be on their side, or at least not to resist anti-whiteism, they had this cutout for them. Well, you're a woman, so you're also being oppressed by white males. And white girls, they sat up nice and straight in their seats and they said, yes, ma'am, yes, sir, I am oppressed just like the rest of you by these awful white men. And today we have women in the bathroom who were born with penises that make her feel uncomfortable. She should have called that guy a woman rather than a guy, because he or she, I guess, is identifying as a woman, and that makes her a woman. I want more of that discomfort. But you see, she had to talk about how she's an oppressor because she's white, but still this vestigial limb of anti-whiteism. But you're also oppressed because you're a female. Not much longer there, white girls, not much longer before they'll say female except for white women. We've already talked about here how they're making the arguments everywhere now that being a white female is the most privileged. And of course they would. Of course they would, anti-whites would make this argument. Because in that witch's cauldron of hatred for the white male and the white family and Western civilization, the white female kind of had a leg up on many of the non-white females. Maybe I should say a leg open, because so many of the men, whether they were white or non-white, choose the white women for mates. It's just an observation of mine. Maybe it's not true. But many of the non-white anti-white women, they're pissed off about that. So this is coming like a freight train for white females. And I say more power to them.
That we had to write, and there was no room for debate, because I was thinking, wait, but I don't think that I'm privileged in this way or that I'm marginalized in this way. I think I don't really identify with that. There's no room for discussion, okay?
No.
You're given this narrative and you have to write about how this applies to your life, even if you disagree. They teach you that if you're white, you're racist. You may not know it yet, but
oh, wait, we'll get into that one sec. Carlisle's making a great point in the live chat. She says, agreed, women will have to feel uncomfortable in order to see reality. So if you all didn't know, many of you do, but Carlisle is an actual certified genius. She can read and retain at a glance everything. So a glance. So she's agreeing, and a lot of other really good white women here in service to white well-being are agreeing and supporting me and what I'm saying here. So for all of those out there who would say, oh, he just hates ladies, I'm not even going to use misogynist for those misandristic bitches. But let's hear what she had to say, Misha had to say.
But even if you disagree, it's narrative and you have to write about how this applies to your life. Even if you disagree, they teach you that if you're white, you're racist. You may not know it yet, but you're racist. And again, I did not agree with that, but I wasn't given a choice to debate. It's like they're forcing you to make stuff up.
So what you would say there, if you were going to be telling this, they're teaching you that if you're white, you're evil. They're teaching you that if you're white, you're evil. Whether you know it or not, you're evil. Do not use their concept.
Words and articles that we were reading were being censored because they were offensive. And we weren't really learning things. We were just talking about how it impacted us and our feelings and how it made us feel and how we were feeling and feeling and feeling and feeling. What about facts? Like, for real, what about 1 + 1 = 2? What about actual facts? Why aren't we learning that? Why do I have to sit through a 60-minute class talking about how this article made me feel inside or how I'm discriminated against as a woman?
Why? Because anti-whiteism is psychological warfare waged on Western kind. It cannot be based in facts. Because if it were based in facts, then it could have contradictions. It has to be based in subjectivity, which is feelings, which is why, by the way, ladies out there and guys who maybe are a little bit more like ladies, we have remedied this problem. Kind of started with Aristotle. Maybe you should do a little bit of reading and worked its way all the way up to Bacon. You have to take feelings out of it.
Or how I'm privileged for being white. I mean, I came here to learn. This isn't even a political class. I was literally going to classes, like I had a math class, okay, my calculus class once, and we started talking about how the government should do more to help protect those less fortunate. I'm just sitting in this math class thinking, oh my God.
Well, and what she needs to say there is when he said those less fortunate, that was a euphemism for non-white people. More being done for them is not being done out of his pocket. It's going to be done out of your white ass. So the purpose of it is to victimize you. Then they need a collateral beneficiary. In this case, it's going to be the claim. And in most cases, it's a false claim about how unfortunate someone is, because you have to ask the question of why are they the individuals that you're referencing? By the way, it's always just like this abstraction of a person. It's never a specific person or this anthropomorphized group of people. You have people who are deserving and people who are undeserving poor. It's very easy to just take the lot of them and make claims like this as an excuse to victimize Western kind.
I literally came here to do calculus. What is this? I had a psychology class where we were watching a video about how race isn't real, but then also how race is really important and it wasn't making any sense. And then we were talking about critical race theory. The true left quickly exposed themselves to me as people who judge others based on these categorizations they made for them. So if you're white, you know, you're bad, or if you're a woman, you're good. Instead of actually looking at someone's personality, their character, none of that matters anymore. It's just these attributes, this, how much money do you have?
No.
Are you a male or a female or neither?
No. You see, she's digging into their pretexts. Remember, those are just articulated, written or oral, to get to the outcome of victimizing Western kind, Western civilization every time. Every time. So she's got a lot of potential, without question. She's got all the potential and skills and smarts that she needs, and bravery she needs to be able to take up the Go Free method and think of the good she'll be able to do with everybody watching her.
Extra brownie points. Are you black? Are you white? No one cared what kind of person you were, what you knew. It was all about how you identify. That's racist. Like, that's actually racist to go to look at someone and say,
it's not about how you identify. You all know this. These are the proxy positions. Once again, you're going to defend a spot that isn't actually being attacked.
say, you're white, so this is how you behave. I heard countless students present on why they identify as communists and socialists. And at that point, I was ready to dip. I went home and I thought, I was starting to reflect, what did I learn today? All I really learned was that white people are evil racists.
How to be anti-white.
And that was the whole debate and the whole debate. That was the whole discussion in one of my philosophy classes, I think. And I was not learning. I was literally just being indoctrinated and just brainwashed into this nonsense. It was just getting so annoying because every class was political without exception. Politics should not be in the classroom. A classroom should be a place where you're learning essential knowledge like math, science, history.
Don't make this argument. Don't make that argument. That's an argument from weakness. That's the victim begging to be left alone. We have to accept the reality of our world. You know what should be taking place in a calculus classroom? They should be talking about how evil anti-whiteism is in that classroom. That's the remedy to the problem we have today, not just doing calculus.
Why do I have to be taught politics in math? Why do I have to go into a science class and taught about how racist America is in 2022? I felt completely silenced, completely trapped in the school. And the funny thing is that I felt that there were other students who also were not in agreement with what was being taught, but they were also so afraid of speaking their minds because, we saw what happened to people. We saw that people were literally being told to leave the university if they said something offensive. I honestly worry so much for the future generation.
Using what the anti-whites call heresy, they'll call it offensive. A position of weakness. If you're not, they're forcing people out of the university if you're not anti-white enough. That forces the anti-white to say, no, we're not. You don't have to be anti-white. Oh, really? Then prove it. Then you are in the power. You're the one holding all the cards.
Generation. You can't say anything without being barked at by classmates and teachers alike. I remember 6 or 7 years ago, I did a project in school and I had to find a short little quote that I liked. And I remember picking "live and let live" because I love that quote. And I realized no one was going by that quote anymore because you can't let people have their opinions. You just can't. You have to cancel them if you don't agree with them. Cancel culture was taking place all around me with people that were speaking their minds. All someone had to do was literally claim that that person offended them. And then that individual could be expelled. Expelled, guys, for offending someone.
No, it's not for offending someone. This is kind of irritating, I'm sorry. To me. If you're getting expelled for offending someone, then an anti-white could be expelled for offending you. So is that what's happening there? Or are you being expelled because you're not anti-white enough? Now, it's not Misha's fault. She hasn't been given the tools. She hasn't been exposed to the tools. You know when it will be her fault? Is if she gets exposed to the Go Free method and she continues to talk like this. Then it's her fault.
So sick of being forced to learn about this victimhood and forced into political discussions. Long story short, I left my old university, but not just the university. I left the left, guys, because most importantly, I value my freedom of speech. I'm going to fight for that. I think that's one of the most...
One of the positions, once again, a proxy position, freedom of speech is not a problem if you're anti-white. So defending freedom of speech when that's not where you're getting attacked is like spraying bug spray around the house that's on fire. It doesn't work. As long as Misha's been alive, it hasn't worked. As long as I've been alive, it hasn't worked. My grandfather hasn't worked. Time to accept reality.
Most important things in life is to be able to speak your mind, despite who it could offend or not. Anyone can make the claim that they are offended by something, and then we have to silence that person. And I'm just so much happier at my new university. And this whole experience is what inspired me to start talking about politics on YouTube, because after being silenced for all these years, it feels amazing to finally be able to speak my mind, both in my personal life and here online with you guys. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. And if you did, please remember to hit subscribe and the notification bell so you guys don't miss my videos.
All right, I want to give a big hello to Shelly and Sinatra, who are apparently superstars. They're apparently in the live chat, so that's wonderful. Thank you both for being here. Good to see you, and well done on all of your hard work over the years. talking about these loony people, these crazy anti-whites that are in the world. So what do you all think about Shelley and Sinatra? Have you watched them before? Have you seen their show? So many people has, and they find it really enjoyable. And if you are not following them yet, then you should get over there and give them a sub. Let me take a quick look at what we have here. And I guess I'll just leave that up for a moment. I'm going to get to the financial gifts and any questions. Remember to tag me as No White Guilt, so I will see what you are saying. Otherwise, I'm more inclined to miss it than not. We have Nationalism TV coming back from very beginning in the earliest part of the show. He financially gifted 25 library tokens. And he says here, power is much more important than language. Okay. That is a wish, my friend. That is a wish. And you definitely have presented yourself as a good guy all along. And I hope that you will take an opportunity to listen to the things I'm saying. I'm going to go through what you wrote here. But yes, it would be great if we controlled all the tanks. It would be great if we printed the money. It would be great if we controlled the voting machines. All of that would be great. But none of that's going to happen. So what we do have is something more powerful than controlling the tanks or controlling the voting machines. And that is an idea that defeats anti-whiteism. Why is that more powerful? The same way anti-whiteism was more powerful than our nuclear weapons, our biological weapons, our tanks, our soldiers. Anti-whiteism was more powerful because it is psychological warfare. Now, we have had nothing to defend ourselves against it until the Go Free method, which continues to get stronger as we use it and purify it. Why are these ideas more powerful than everything else? Because ideas possess men and women. And then, everywhere they are with their actions, they realize the idea that has possessed them in the world around them. That is why words are the most important thing on planet Earth. That is why words are the most powerful thing. Now, you might be saying to yourself that you can't just go out into the world and say abracadabra and change things. That's right. They have to be specific concepts that overturn the concepts that we were defeated by. When they are thusly empowered, individuals, members of our race, our people, and non-white people who also object to anti-whiteism will selfishly take up those concepts because in their arguments with their friends and family, they will win by using those concepts. You see that we don't even have to think about Jason Kuna. Then the people who hear those concepts being used and see them successfully defeating anti-whites, they will pick up those concepts. This is why we call it a curative contagion. So let me see what else you wrote here. Power is much more important than language. Anti-whites say the dumbest things every day, yet their message dominates the world. If your show was on primetime Fox News, we would win regardless of what exact terminology you use. Well, I wish that were true, but I'm afraid that I disagree with you. If I were on Fox News and I was saying what Tucker Carlson says, or any of these other, Sean Hannity, or you can go back to people who were a little bit more hard-nosed than those characters. They lost. They're losing. I would lose. And we don't have any more time for that. He goes on with another 25 library token financial gift, and I thank you for that. He says, with another 25, and thank you so much, good brother, tokens. My point to all this, you have 160 live viewers right now. Your goal for the next month should be 200. Next month, 300. Then 5, then 1,000, then 10,000, then 1,000,000. Then we win. We're doing too much philosophy and not enough just basic marketing. Well, there's some agreement there about marketing and getting out to people. But take, for instance, and this is where, I agree, we should be doing more marketing. And if I had 1,000,000 people watching me, we wouldn't be powerful because I'm some guy. I'm just some, dashing, handsome, magnificent lover, super athlete, who also happens to be a genius guy. And then that's suddenly going to change everything. And they're going to go out into the world. People will go out into the world and articulate the arguments that Misha was using, and then win in those environments. No, I see where you're coming from. Like if you all were like my myrmidons, if I had 1,000,000 myrmidons, and I could that wouldn't be enough though. If I had 100 million myrmidons, and I could just say, march to DC, and so you're talking ultimately about, when you're saying power, you're talking about violence. You're talking about like giving an order and having it violently pressed upon and inflicted upon those who disagree. And that we're never going to be in that sort of scenario. There's not going to, in my opinion, there's not going to be a guy that's going to rise up outside of Washington, D.C. or outside of the citadel of the anti-white regime and those anti-white oligarchs who's going to be able to command enough people to send them off to combat, physical combat with the anti-whites. It just will not happen. The biggest audiences go to people, who have these like character names for their audiences. They have like these, just like high schools, just like universities I was talking about earlier. Like the salty cracker guy, he can have like 30-some thousand, 40,000 watching him live. What happens with his... So your bottom line there is that salty cracker, if you take your thinking to the next step, the salty cracker guy with his 40,000 watching live every time he goes live has more power than what we have done here for people, and that we exert on the infinitely more. I mean, 40,000 watching live. That's far more people. So then he's wielding a bunch of people who consider themselves salty crackers, and they go out into the world and do what? Exactly. Nothing. They show up for his show, and he puts on a great show, very entertaining. He talks about all the things going bad, and when something goes good, he tells them, "We did it, lads. The salt is flowing." And then everybody cheers, the 40,000 there cheer. That's no army that could win anything. Mental, certainly physical, but not mental either. They're not doing anything. The key to this has always been that we have to possess people with a moral position that defeats anti-white morality in the minds of our reasonable brothers and sisters, so that our people, where they are, become possessed of the story that we place them in with our concepts, very easy to use, things like anti-whiteism. And that then, in the positions that they find themselves, they are able to take steps to right the ship of state for all of our countries across the West. And it's going to look various ways. It may end up violent in some places. I hope it doesn't. But we will need millionaires and military and police and people in office and people who are CEOs and people who wield power in various ways across the West at various junctures to begin wielding the concepts that are taught in the Go Free method so that they're defeating those in their midst who are wielding anti-whiteism, and that they become, as a consequence, righteously motivated to do the right thing and to defeat anti-whiteism. That's the only chance we have, in my opinion. Now, if White Wellbeing Advocate, no calls tonight. Going to be rolling out here soon, but we'll have calls tomorrow, brother. You can be first. 5 p.m., everybody, Going Free. We will be live tomorrow, Eastern Time. Don't miss it. Now, maybe somebody out there will prove me wrong. Maybe like Salty Cracker, his audience will go up to 1 million, and then, I don't know, maybe he'll decide to have all the saltines march on Washington. I think it'll be a bloody, salty day if that happens. But maybe that will happen, and I will be proven wrong, and then I will admit that I was wrong if that happens. Only if they win. But I really appreciate you disagreeing in a respectful way, because I always welcome that. Thank you so very much. And I appreciate you, brother. Thank you. Looks like we're blank there. Let me pull around to here. We'll drop her down so you can see how glorious I am once again. Again with the tie. You can't really see. It's not just black. It's like very faintly red that running through. It's actually quite lovely. Looks like there's nothing new over here on Entropy. Thank you to everybody who financially gifted. I'll turn around. Wow, let's get out the raucous emojis for Brad. $25 financial gift from Brad tonight. Raucous emojis, 07s for him. I love it. I love it. But he says here, $25 gift. Save our white babies. $25. He says, you are killing it tonight. Thank you! Exclamation point. Well, I really appreciate it. You know, I like doing these. I think Fernald has said, you got to do more teaching. You got to break it down for people. And I think he's right. We will be back tomorrow. If you have any questions in the closing minutes here, please tag me, No White Guilt. I'll take another look at the live chat to see if there is any of that. And but before I do that, I'm breaking out a salute for the good Marco. The good one, doesn't wear any foam, like that one down there in Florida. Marco coming in with a $20 financial gift to put an end to anti-whiteism. Thank you, brother. You're magnificent. You keep showing up again and again. He says, who's the man? You're the man. That's great, man. Who's the man? You're the man. We should be chanting it out in the streets. Who's the man? You're the man. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. And I just want to reiterate again that I'm not getting down on this Misha girl. Not down on her. I mean, she's got the potential to pick up the Go Free method and do wonders. And I hope she does. Please, God in heaven, let her pick it up. Because she can talk about everything going on at university, and she's going to be immediately relatable. I mean, how relatable is a demigod, really? When you think about it, how relatable is a demigod? I mean, I just can't really communicate what it's like living sometimes in the clouds, sometimes on the earth. You know, sometimes I'm sort of just like hopping, skipping through the universe with the other gods. And it's hard to communicate what that's like to mortal men and women. So Misha, on the other hand, is very relatable. And there will be millions, there could potentially be millions of people that will listen to her and Little Apostate, because they're living what so many of our women are living right now, and they're speaking out against it. So we need to have them empowered. It's just there aren't enough words. If they continue preaching what we listen to in our youths, and if they continue speaking that way, the very near future for us all across the West, no place to hide, is something you don't even want to try to fathom. All right, so let's see. Looks like we're blank over there now. I'll take a look at the live chat. Thank you all for being with me this Saturday evening. Now, as soon as I'm done here, I gotta start getting ready for the gathering tomorrow. That's, it takes a lot of time. Got to get back to, not tonight, recording. I was doing recording for Prometheus Rising, and that is a mission. I mean, I want to make it good, So I'm working at that, and that's taken a lot of time. But, and then of course, I got to go hang out with the other gods. So that's time consuming. .0022 says, the recapturing of our destiny, the game anti-white. Yeah, that sounds like a cool game. We're living it. We're the heroes in it. Axis Mundi is here. Great to see you. Samantha P is here. Great to see you. William, hello. And welcome. Richard as well. JD, great to see you both. Cis White Male is here. Great to see you. Azimuth Clark is with us. Wonderful to see you, brother. Brad is here. Vivian, hello to you. Sin526 is also with us. Great to see you. Just strolling through the champions. Rain Man. Marluxia. Kevin Ant. Hello to you. Is that another William in there? Jason. Great name. Machiavellia sucks. In case you didn't know, I've got 2 babies named after me for the work I'm doing. Not because I am a family member or a distant family member, or because I'm somebody dead from history, or because the people who named their children were airheads and they are just like sports ball airheads or music airheads, and they're like, I'm going to name my little baby after this nobody. No. It's because of the work we're doing here in service to white well-being. You all know it's the truth. You have seen it happen live here. You even saw Naderific and his wife were in labor and delivery and in the live chat of the Going Free stream. Something special is happening when that's going on. Figs is here. Escape, hello to you. Victorian Time Traveler is with us, and he says, I heard wolves howling in the night this week. One of the most tragic and horrible mistakes we have made was wiping them out because they scared women. I don't know if that was the only reason. I don't know. I think they might have been like killing children and livestock, so that might have been problematic. But yes, they are being introduced, and that's a great thing to see the environment return to a more natural balance. They are a wonderful part of the ecosystem, a beautiful animal. Ursa Major is with us. Great to see you. Is this a Run All White Wolf? Jason is on fire tonight. Thank you very much. Did I mention JD? Is that Dawn? Hello to you and welcome. The salty crackers. And like I said before, I reiterate, that's cool if you want to go get your entertainment and get your dose of the news from those guys. They're very entertaining. A lot of these different folks that break things down and doom document. They do it in an entertaining way. And that guy does it obviously in a very entertaining way. Probably a really nice guy too. But definitely don't think that you're accomplishing something by watching that and having him say, "We did it, lads. We did it. This guy's running for the hills." That's like watching porn and feeling like you just really had your way with a great looking woman. That's scary. Victorian time traveler says an army of salty crackers would crumble like crackers. Yeah. Let's have, if anybody knows Salty Cracker, is that what he calls himself? Let's have him on. If you know him, say, hey, go over there and hang out with that No I Go guy. Best kept secret to saving the West. The great Lunder is here. He says, I've let her know that you reviewed her content on Twitter. Oh, thank you, brother. I appreciate it. Yes, you have such a fantastic name, says Jason. Apparently, there is a comment for me from Sinatra. And I got to find it. I don't see it. Tyler asking if I've ever said something about a specific historical figure. And my answer is, I don't look in the rearview mirror. The car is hurtling down the road. And we're on one of those, you know, in South America, Central South America, you have like these winding roads on the side of the mountain. And they didn't really do sort of the things that we did in Western countries, where like we thought, we don't want the car to go over the edge. And so where there was going to be heavy traffic, we kind of dug into the mountain quite a bit and then built out. And then we have bolsters and concrete. And then there are big barriers where there's going to be heavy traffic, of course. I know that there are some roads that are not quite like that. But, you know, well, you also see these roads, these circuitous roads on the sides of mountains with just nothing but the sheerest of cliffs in India. And these videos, they pop up all the time where it's just like, there goes a bus, there goes the bus. Oh, well. Another bus will be by in 10, 15 minutes. That's the attitude. Let's see. Yeah, so there's Carlisle saying, okay, here it is. Okay, so Sinatra is asking Jason, you should consider trying to get in contact with Misha and perhaps give her some careful guidance in this critical time of her awakening, assuming she's receptive and it would be appropriate. Yes, sir, I absolutely agree with that. I did actually reach out with an email to her with the email that she provides. So I have no other form of contact with her. And I didn't find a Twitter that I was certain was hers, but like Lunder said he did. But yeah, I will definitely reach out in addition to that email. And in the email, I said, hey, I'm going to be reviewing this video of yours. And here's why, and I hope you'll check it out. We did the same thing with Little Apostate, and she's going to be on with us on Wednesday evening, 8 p.m. Eastern time. And I hope that she will take up the empowerment that we will provide. The choice is hers. And I'll send her, I mean, if she wants both of these content creators, if they want a digital version of the Go Free method, the Go Free book, I will absolutely send that. But thank you. Yeah, absolutely. Do you know her? If you know her, tell her to come hang out. We'll make her so powerful that she'll go through there like we'll use a different metaphor. She'll go through there like a field of roses. The anti-whites will have, they hate anything aromatic, anything ambrosial. They melt. And so she'll just go through them like a field of roses. Axis Mundi says, excellent stream this evening. Thank you, Carlisle, by the way, for letting me know that he had messaged me. Excellent stream this evening. These commentary streams are a great way to illustrate the effectiveness of the Go Free and the contrasting futility of using ineffective concepts. I really appreciate that. And that's one of the things that the great Fornal very, politely, again and again, he's like, yeah, remember I said you should probably try out some more of those commentary streams, some educational streams. So he was right. Amma is here. Great to see you. Yep, he was absolutely right. All right, I don't think I missed anybody. I don't think there's anything else going on. We have that TAP episode coming up on Wednesday. Tomorrow is the Going Free gathering at 5 p.m. Eastern Time for 4.5 hours. We have calls the final hour now, roughly, trying to be more disciplined about that. So if you would like to just speak directly to me, then show up during that time. That's toward the end of the show. And then, of course, on Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time is Jason Goes Political, where I'm in a totally different studio and we're talking about things from more of a political point of view and what we can actually do in the political circles to make a change while we have so little power politically. So there are big things we can do. Black Tom is here. I saw your video that you did with Hypocrite. That is like a template of how you should talk to people when introducing Go Free. Thank you for that very much. That's a great guy, Hypocrite. I got the feeling that, and this often happens when it comes to talking with us, that people get told negative things because there are a lot of me-nots out there, right? We know that. And so you have me-nots from sort of those who are following me around to hate on me. But then you also have in like conservative content creator circles and Republican content creator circles, and especially these guys are more like me-nots as well. These like dissident Republican circles, they will just surround the content creator and say, don't talk to him, don't talk to them. They're weird, whatever. They're weird. I'm so weird. And then that sometimes will cause people to doubt. And but Hypocrite was just like, this guy seems like totally legit. And he was a little worried about his YouTube channel. He doesn't have to be worried about it because of me. But he's just generally worried, I think, like all of us are. But he mentioned that during the stream. He's like, I didn't know, bringing you on would be a problem or anything. But we had a great conversation and we had some great back and forth after the fact. And so I hope that he'll take a lot of what I shared. He said, in fact, he was going to be going over the video and I think making another video or so out of some of the things that we shared. Can you imagine? This guy is an identifiable guy, he's a relatable guy, he's a nice guy. And if he has some of these concepts and he goes into debates with anti-whites, they won't know what hit them. They'll have no idea what hit them. It'll be marvelous. They don't ever have to know who I am. And that's probably how it'll end up anyhow. Sinatra says, sorry, Jason, I hit the character limit before I could tag you. But thank God for Carlisle, huh? Yeah, exactly. No worries about that, man. No worries. Yeah, she can. I'm not joking when I said she's a genius. She could take the entire live chat. This is not, I've seen it. She could take the entire live chat, and if it could be printed out with it large enough that she could see what was there, she could just like look and she's got it. Now, normally you have to be like a savant, and you are like can't tie your shoes to be able to do that. So yeah, thank you, exactly, and thank you for saying that about her. Let me see, what else do I got going on? Gym. I'm not going to the gym tomorrow though. I was there yesterday, and I was happy because the college kids are leaving. They're going back to school. And that means the gym is less crowded. That's what they have anything to do anyhow. They're just screwing around at the gym. Oh my gosh, I had the past couple of weeks, I don't know what it is. You know, they got to go back to school. I'm not talking about like great athletes. People who are just like, well, I want to, like a lot of the guys, you know, girls too. They want to improve their looks a little bit, and thereby, I guess, their desirability to whoever they want to attract. And so they get in there and they're just like playing around. And I had the past few weeks, actually more than a month, I've had these people just sitting on pieces of equipment and just like scrolling through their phone. And I'll go up, and I kind of to the guys, I'm a little bit shorter, but I'm still polite. I mean, I'm just like, hey, you done? And they're like, yeah, even if they weren't. But I also told one guy something he was doing that was wrong, that was going to hurt him. So if I see that at the gym, I'll speak up about that. Mike says, I like when Carlyle translates all of the legalese in the anti-white laws being passed. Yeah, me too. Although she needed some hardcore training to get out of talking like she was inside of the anti-white narrative. I would stop her and say, who was that? What were those people? What were they doing now? Trees are made of wood. That's a cool name. Says, do a collaboration with the Golden One. He's for the movement and being well-read and physically ready for anything that could kick off. He even has a publishing company for white people. Yeah, we've actually had him on a bunch of times on tap. He's a real nice guy. Like him and his family. Good folks. I see Franklin coming in there. I guess maybe the trees are made of wood. Did he try it another way and it didn't work? It worked that time. Stefan is here. Great to see you. I actually have gone a couple times in the gym. I get, sometimes you're in the gym, maybe you all can relate, and you want to do your workout. You're not there to screw around. I don't have all the time. I'm very busy. So I don't go to the gym to hang out. There are people who go to hang out. Sometimes like real diehard, like bodybuilders and things, they go there they'll just stay all day. I don't know what they do for a living. Sell drugs. I don't know. They stay all day. But often you'll see people who they're just kind of screwing off. And so sometimes if somebody is irking me, especially, and this can be a peeve, this can be a peeve, when they're using more than one piece of equipment. Now, it's all cool if you're using like maybe two pieces of equipment, but you're willing to let one of the pieces go as soon as somebody comes up wants to use it, that piece, and nothing else. But these times, these people will get, and it's very irritating to me. And so a couple times, well, not a couple times, actually, it's when I'm getting irritated, I'll go up and I'll say, are you done playing? Because I'd like to do an actual workout. Are you done playing around? But it's all in jest. It's all in love. I'm just want them to get the hell out of the way. That's all. All right. Well, if there's not anything else, it looks like I got to figure out what's wrong with the Rumble. Not a soul over there. I have a channel. I'm broadcasting to the channel. I can see the video. So I don't understand how it's not visible, or nobody finds it, or is it not visible to the public for some reason? It's just visible to me. Maybe I should try to find it on... I could try to find it over on incognito. Maybe I'll do that tomorrow. It's running late. I think what we'll do is we will... It's been a good Saturday night. I'm going to let you all go to do whatever it is that you do on Saturday nights. White Calling is here. Great to see you. Bark Eater. It sounds like a wonderful dish. Eating bark. Is that French? French cuisine. And I'm going to go get to work, because it definitely doesn't end here. We got to keep moving if we're going to recapture our destiny. But make sure you're with us tomorrow. And let's see if I can do this. This would be cool. Make sure you're with us tomorrow at 5 p.m. And make sure that you are playing Jared George's The Great Order's new song, which is I Have Made. Play it on Spotify, because if you do, then the number of plays there will algorithmically boost his song up to people who would never have found him before. And this is one of those rare cases when an algorithm can help us, because they don't know that Jared is not as anti-white as they come. At least not yet. Once they do, I'm sure they'll pull the plug. But until then, we can help him out. That's over on Spotify. Rest of the night tomorrow. Please do that. Support our brother. And I guess we'll leave it at that. I'll see you all tomorrow, 5 p.m.
I know